Somewhere in America tonight, a man is sitting in his truck, knuckles tight on the steering wheel, cursing every red light, every delay, every single thing that went wrong today. And I want you to ask yourself something. What if the worst day of your life was actually the day that saved it? What if that missed flight, that ruined meeting, that broken down engine on the side of the highway? What if every one of those moments was holding you back from something far worse than you can imagine? Here's the thing. Most folks go their whole lives angry at the very things that protected them. Stay with me through this one, because by the end, you're going to know exactly which delay in your own life you need to thank God for tonight. And trust me, you'll never look at a bad morning the same way again. His name was David, a small business owner from a quiet town outside Nashville, Tennessee, the kind of man who builds his life one slow handshake at a time. He'd flown into New York City the night before for the biggest meeting of his career, a deal that could finally pull his little construction company out of a year of bad luck. That morning, he woke up in a stiff hotel bed with the alarm screaming at him, sunlight already too bright through the curtains. He'd overslept. His coffee from the lobby was already cold by the time he hit the sidewalk. His daughter's school photo still tucked inside the front pocket of his wallet, the picture he carried everywhere. The reason he was even in that city at all. Now. Here's the truth about David. He was tired. Bone deep, soul deep tired. He'd spent the last 18 months working 16-hour days, missing dinners, missing bedtimes, missing the small everyday moments with his wife and little girl that he kept promising himself he'd make up for later. And deep down, he carried that quiet shame so many good men carry, the fear that he was failing the people he loved most while breaking his back trying to provide for them. This New York meeting was supposed to fix all of it. One handshake, one contract, one chance to finally come home and breathe again. So, when he stepped out of that hotel and saw the empty spot at the curb where his rental pickup truck was supposed to be, the parking sign he'd somehow missed the night before, the oil stain on the asphalt where his truck had been towed away, something inside him just cracked. He was already an hour late. The meeting was across town. The fine was going to be enormous. He stood there on that loud Manhattan sidewalk with the whole city moving past him, and he felt the weight of every single thing he'd been carrying come down on his shoulders all at once. And what happened next, he never could have predicted. David started walking. He didn't have a plan. He just needed to move, needed the cold autumn air on his face, needed the sound of his own boots on the pavement to drown out the panic rising in his chest. He pulled out his phone with a trembling hand, called the office downtown, apologized again and again, rescheduled the meeting for after lunch. The lunch dragged on for 3 hours. By the time he stepped back out onto that sidewalk, the sun was sliding low between the skyscrapers, painting the whole city gold. And somewhere in the back of his pocket, he felt the crumple of a $1 bill, one he'd picked up off the sidewalk the day before, almost without thinking. Now here's the part most people miss. As he stood there in that golden light, exhausted, fined, behind schedule, David suddenly had the strangest thought, a thought that hit him like a whisper from somewhere outside himself. What if that dollar wasn't mine to take? What if I picked up something that was meant for somebody else? What if everything that went wrong this morning was somehow connected to that one small dollar I pocketed without a second thought? He couldn't shake the feeling. So he reached into his pocket, pulled out that crumpled bill, and started looking for someone who might need it more than he did. And he didn't have to walk far. Just half a block down, sitting against the brick wall of an old church, there was a thin older man in a faded army jacket, the kind of jacket David's own father used to wear. The same shade of olive green he remembered from the photo on his grandfather's mantel. The man had a paper cup in front of him with a few coins inside, his eyes tired but kind, his hands folded in his lap, the way David's father used to fold them in prayer before dinner. Something about him stopped David cold. He knelt down, didn't say a word, and pressed that dollar bill gently into the old man's palm. The old man looked up. His eyes were the color of weathered denim, soft and steady. He smiled, slow and gentle. "Hold on a minute, son," he said. His voice was rough from too many cold nights. "I used to be a poet. Let me give you something back for your kindness." David almost said no. He almost stood up, brushed off his knees, and rushed off to whatever was next on his list. But something in that old man's eyes made him stay, made him kneel, made him listen. So he nodded, and the old man took a slow breath, looked David straight in the soul, and said the words David would carry with him for the rest of his life. "Son," he said quietly, "the only reason you're still alive is because you didn't get to where you were rushing to this morning." David froze. Right there on that New York sidewalk. The traffic, the horns, the crowds, all of it just went silent. He thought about the tow truck, the cold coffee, the lost hours, the meeting he'd cursed every minute of the day. And in that one breathtaking second, he understood. Every delay had been a mercy. Every frustration had been a hand on his shoulder, pulling him gently away from something he was never meant to walk into. And what he understood in that moment is something you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life. Let me tell you something, friend. Half the things you've cursed in your life were quietly saving you. The flat tire that made you late. The job you didn't get. The relationship that fell apart. The morning everything went wrong. You and I both know we don't always understand what's protecting us until years later. And sometimes we never understand at all. But here's the truth. God, life, providence, whatever name you give it, has a way of putting traffic in your path when there's something worse waiting just around the corner. So tonight, before your head hits the pillow, I want you to do one thing. Think of the worst thing that happened to you this year, and just whisper thank you for it. You don't have to know why yet. You just have to trust that one day you will . And now I want to hear from you. And I mean really hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me about one delay, one detour, one bad day in your life that you now realize was actually a blessing in disguise. I read every single comment on this channel, everyone, because your stories are the heartbeat of this place. And somewhere out there tonight, somebody is sitting alone, cursing their own bad day. And your story might be the exact thing that helps them hold on. That's what we do here. We hold each other up. And if this story moved you even a little, do me one favor, subscribe and turn on the notification bell. New stories like this one come out every week, and I want to make sure the next one finds its way to you on the night you need it most. Take care of yourself out there. And remember, the delay isn't the enemy. It's the mercy.